Wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deepest seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days aren't over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days aren't over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Hi there, and so is our regular warm-up music. Time is running out, blends into the background. Welcome to the fifth in our series of Autumn 2025 revision videos. So we have live streams covering key topics or key exam skills on the dial Monday night, 6 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Those of you watching live, welcome. Good number in tonight. Please subscribe to the channel so you can contribute your answers to the chat window, and we'll showcase some of the best answers as we go through our session. If you're watching on replay, just press that pause button anytime you like, take some notes, and of course you can download all the resources from this presentation later on. So let's make a start with our usual regular starter, which is the big reveal. I've got 5 clues about the name of a business. And simple question, can you name the business? Welcome to lots of our regulars tonight, including Freddie and Charlie B. Here's the first clue coming up. Let's see if you can beat me and Freddie and the team. This business was founded in Barcelona in 1984. What do we think? So Sam says he's excited for this. Well, Sam, do you know the name of a business founded in Barcelona in 1984? Maybe you think it was founded in Madrid in 1983. No, that would be the wrong answer. Here's clue number 2. This business has collaborated, put my teeth in, with celebrities like Penelope Cruz and Zinedine Zidane, formerly a footballer of this parish. So has collaborated with celebrities. What do we think? We haven't yet had a correct answer in the chat window, but we hold out hope. Here's clue number 3. Their flagship store is actually located in a 19th century palace. Who can get the big reveal? Founded in Barcelona just over 40 years ago, Flagship store is in a palace. Here's clue number 4. With clue number 4 coming up, they aim to use 100% sustainable cotton and recycled polyester by 2025. Jim, somebody in the Chitty production office says B&M Bargains. You are so close, so close. A couple of people saying Desigual, 1 or 2 others. Here's the 5th clue. It's named after a fruit, and I think we will have the right answer. Jim in the production team. YouTube commenter 12. I assume that's not your correct name, and its correct answer is mango. Great example of a business to use. Well done on that. That's the big reveal for this week. Now we're going to be thinking about costs, revenues, and profits. So let's start with the application spinner. Hopefully you've been covering these aspects. By the way, this is going to be a diagram-free session. So just application, just examples, just some really good applied economics. Okay, we'll leave the diagrams for a separate video. So here we go. We're thinking here examples of fixed costs. Fixed costs. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see which industry or which sector comes to mind. 6 given there, and it is new house building. So there's no timer on this. Can you add in, please, to the chat window or into the chat window? We'll put up some answers on the screen. Some examples, please, of fixed costs that you might apply to the building of new housing. So think about construction companies. What do we think? Let's see what comes up. Fixed costs are costs that don't depend on output. So scanners talks about joiners and bricklayers. If they're on salaries, yes. But if they're on a sort of hourly basis, if they're part-time workers or 0 hours contracts, that would be a variable cost. But a good example there. Any more examples, please, of fixed costs? Freddie Hudson comes in with a good answer, I think. Freddie talks about the costs of building or buying warehouses for materials like bricks. Yeah, you could rent a warehouse, but that would effectively be a fixed cost because it doesn't depend on the number of houses built. Thank you to Freddie. Let's look at my suggested answers. So fixed costs are costs that don't depend on output in the short term. So things like insurance. Every business needs insurance. You take out insurance premium for your employees, for your equipment, and that's a fixed cost essentially. Equipment depreciation, well, things like machinery, excavators, bulldozers, and cranes. Obviously, the more you use them, the more they depreciate. But these things depreciate anyway, regardless of use. Then there was their value is, if your value depreciates each year, even if you didn't use the bulldozers. As Jim says, some very good concrete examples here. Interest payments on loans. If you issue a bond, for example, that's a fixed cost, doesn't depend on output. The salaries of your permanent staff, and also the land acquisition costs, which for many building firms is a significant upfront fixed cost. Good stuff. Right, here we go. Next one, let's move on to variable costs. Now we're going to grey out construction. It won't be housing. Let's spin that wheel one more time. And we've gone for transport and logistics. So things like the logistics industries, things like Amazon, for example, getting products to the consumer. You could even include things like Deliveroo, end-to-end delivery systems, getting from and Domino's, that kind of stuff. So they're part of the transport and logistics industries. So what have we got? Some great answers coming through here. Thanks to Ash and to Ulberg and to Scanners for coming through with some answers. Hours wages for delivery drivers, yes. Vladimir talks about fuel costs. Scanners talks about hourly wages. John Burles talks about raw material costs. Yeah, you get the idea. Well done. Variable costs depend, of course, directly on output. So here are my 2 or 3 suggestions coming up on the screen for you. The cost of fuel, driver wages if paid per hour or per shipment. The maintenance and repair costs of vehicles can be substantial. And also, of course, if you're in the logistics sector, things like packaging costs for shipped goods. Amazon's made a big play, hasn't it, in recent times about increasing the recycled component of its packaging and also trying to reduce the weight and volume of its packaging. And oftentimes you get stuff arriving which when you look inside is a minuscule percentage of the actual packaging. So some good examples there, really good, well done. Now, if you have covered this, here's a chance to revise it. If you haven't, let's have a look. Sunk costs. Maybe in the window, somebody could define a sunk cost for me. If you haven't covered it yet, don't worry, we'll talk through it. And your application spinner has landed on sunk costs in the pharmaceutical industry. So here's a chance for you to think about it. What do we know about sunk costs? Those of you in year 13, this will be super important whenever you study contestable markets. Yeah, Charlie B is bang on with his economics. Sunk cost is a cost you really can't get back if you decide to leave the market. So what do we think? Cost that can't be recovered in whole or in part. So can we think of a couple of examples there? Scanners go for drug discovery, research costs, R&D spend. Yeah, really good. Excellent stuff. CD1, SW1J, which is either your name or a postcode or both. Research and development of the drugs. Good stuff. Well done, everybody. Here are my answers. I've gone for R&D. R&D is a big cost. It takes typically hundreds of millions of dollars to research a new drug and bring it to market. Research the drug initially, then you test it, test the efficacy of a drug. You've got to get through all the regulatory approval systems. And of course, if the drug doesn't make it to market, a lot of the money spent is non-recoverable, although some of the benefits spill over. And particularly when you think about COVID, the growth of mRNA platform technologies. So you build this mRNA platform, and the likes of Pfizer and GSK, working with universities, you can build these testing platforms, which can often lead to much cheaper drugs in the second or third iteration. That's the development of vaccines, clinical trial costs, and crucially, it's good worth adding to your notes, regulatory and compliance costs. The cost of meeting the costs of getting regulatory approval. Okay. Chitty Choo saying GSK sacked their CEO today. That is big news. That's news to me. I'll have to chase it up and think about it, catch up on it after the live stream. Wow, big news, worth following. Well done. Okay, here's a quick numerical little test for you. Can you fix the broken table? Take a moment on this. We don't have a time on this. Just take a moment. So if you're watching on live stream, let's say a minute on this. If you're watching on catch up, just press that pause button. Can you put in the numbers, please? A, B, C, and D. So if you're watching live, we're looking for four numbers. So this tests your understanding of fixed, variable, total, average, and marginal cost calculations. So what do those letters stand for in numerical terms? Let's have a quick look and see what you think. And in about 30 seconds or so, we will walk you through the answers. If you can complete these four broken table bits, then you pretty much understand the relationship. Lots of answers coming through for A. Can we just double check A first, Jim? And A indeed is 210, so well done. Now let's do B. A lot of people saying B. And the answer for B is coming up on the screen for you. 456, so well done to Jonathan and Sir Robert Peel for getting that right. Excellent. And Sam Lloyd and Amy. C is coming out now. What do we think for C? Tom Lockwood thinks 116. What do we think? So average cost is total cost divided by output. And so the answer is coming up on the screen. Yes, 116. Total cost is average cost divided by output. Now, marginal cost is the change in total cost from the next unit produced. So what's the marginal cost of the sixth unit? What is the marginal cost of the sixth unit? Coming up now, what do we think? And I think, most of you are saying 140. Let's double check. It is indeed Nice little numerical calculations there. They sometimes come up on the short answer questions, particularly the Edexcel board. Great stuff. Right, so today we're not going to do any diagrams. I just thought I'd take one little case study with it for you that may well appear in the exam, because the examiners love to choose industries and markets where things are happening. And here we go. So this is the rapid growth of Pure Gym. It says organic growth without acquisitions, although actually last year they took over an American gym chain, which will not appear in the figures that I'm about to show you. But Pure Gym, maybe some of you already go to Pure Gym, but it's now the biggest low-cost gym operator in the UK by some distance. Okay, it's a heavyweight operator. Over 420 facilities dotted around the UK. They've doubled the number of gyms in their portfolio over the last 6-7 years, pre and post COVID. On average, they have around 3,300 members per gym, which is interesting. Low cost, low price. This is like the Ryanair of the gym industry. And they made £3 million a week operating profit in 2023. I don't have the figures for last year, but I think the profits were down because of the cost of acquiring the American gym company. Okay, so there's a bit of background. Here's some data for you, just to give you a feel for. By the way, does anybody go to Pure Gym? If you do, say so in the chat window. So Pure Gym is now streets ahead of the Gym Group, Anytime Fitness, and others. Some of the brand names you'll recognise there. Well ahead. They are really the dominant low-cost gym business in the UK. Interestingly, we move on to the next slide. Again, a bit of application for you. These are the average monthly fees, membership fees of the main private fitness operators last year. I've dug out the data for you for 2025, actually. It was April. David Lloyd, very expensive clubs, typically tennis and everything, and squash and paddle built into it. Nuffield, again, is pretty expensive. Ballantyne Fitness in the middle ground there. And then you move to this tranche of low-cost gyms, membership of around £25 to £35 a month. So this is a really, really interesting market for an economist to study. And I've got 3 questions for you. Here's the first one. We have a minute on each. Please do contribute to the chat window. Can you give me 3 factors? 1's fine, 2's great, 3's amazing. 3 factors that might affect revenues and a business such as Pure Gym. Please start the clock. So what are some of the factors affecting the revenue, the top line of a business, a fast-growing business such as Pure Gym? What do we think? So we're looking for factors affecting revenue, which is obviously factors affecting demand. Price per unit. Some good answers coming through. Thank you to Romero. Yeah, so they've very much gone down the low-cost model. The key here, everybody, especially in year 12, for example, is the difference between revenue and cost. So revenue is the money coming into the business, and profit is the difference between revenue and cost. A really great answer there from Freddie. Proximity of competitors. If surrounded by high-end gyms, then it will be high. If surrounded by low-cost gyms, yeah, suggesting a bit of anchoring effects there from Freddie. Again, AJGMZ, for competitors such as the Gym Group, Everlast can take away their customers. So they are sometimes called, by the way, spatial competition. Those of you who are geographers. A few of you, Jonathan Burles, talking about income levels changing demand and fashion, that kind of stuff. And I think that's really quite important, which we'll come to in a second, John. YouTube commenter did very well in our quiz, talking about trends. The seasonality, for example, of demand for gyms. Typically, people join in the new year or after a birthday or landmark. Really good stuff. Freddie talks about geographic location, and Romero talks about income elasticity and inferior good. If it's an inferior good, if incomes decline, it will sell more. Very, very good point. So what we're talking about here, some of you are talking about costs. But what we're really focused on here is revenue. Revenue is price times quantity. Can I take you through my 3 points, if that's okay with you? First of all, real disposable incomes. Can you afford a gym membership? So real disposable incomes is incomes after tax and benefits and inflation. And we know that incomes have been pretty stagnant or falling for many, many people in recent times. So factors such as unemployment, real disposable incomes, and confidence, it's a discretionary spend. Those factors affect people's willingness and ability to spend on gym memberships. So really pleased that Romero, for example, talked about inferior goods, income elasticity of demand. So Pure Gym does quite well in a recession. Low cost model, people can't afford to go to an expensive gym. They're looking for a low cost alternative if gyms are what they do. Okay. Secondly, which I think actually Freddie talked about in his comments, Freddie Hudson, market contestability. So competition from other gyms. And it's not just local gyms side by side, maybe in the neighborhood, but also substitutes. So I'm sat here in my studio here. To my right, I have some gym equipment. Maybe I should do a live stream on my Watt bike one Monday evening. But a lot of people have been buying home gym equipment, Peloton subscriptions, Concept 2 equipment, Watt bikes, as an alternative to gym membership. So if they can build a man cave in the garage, they don't have to pay for a gym subscription. And also the prices of alternatives, the local pool or the local facilities the authority might provide. And then thirdly, now you may not have covered this yet in your year 13 economics, but if you have, just give me a little sign in the chat window. Price discrimination. So businesses such as Pure Gym make a lot of use of charging different prices to different people at different times. So although there might be a flat rate membership, you can pay a bit more for this, a bit more for that. A little bit like Ryanair, they have a low cost ticket price, but they make their money from the ancillary revenues, the food and drink, the boarding passes, and the baggage, the ubiquitous baggage charges. Okay, so oftentimes Pure Gym has a low price per month, but actually their revenue is driven up by getting people into the gym, buying drinks, eating food, paying for extras like classes and what have you. Okay, so there are 3 revenue factors. If that makes sense, that would be really good. Romero says you haven't done it yet. Okay, this is a kind of year, and you're part of year 13. Lots of students are doing kind of business economics, theories of revenue and cost. Moving on, 2 more questions to finish with. Okay, so we know that Pure Gym made £3 million profit per week in 2023. Can you give me 3 functions of profit, 3 reasons why profit is important for a business such as Pure Gym? Have a go, please. Yeah, it looks like some of you have done price discrimination, some of you haven't. Don't worry, you'll cover it in your economics. So why is profit important for a business such as Pure Gym? Who can really throw into our discussion tonight some great answers? There's Leo's point. Excellent. Yeah, Harvey and Leo were talking about retained profits, increased quality of the equipment. That's a non-price factor. Already linking it to customer loyalty, which is excellent. Ash says that some of the profits can be used to fund marketing to increase growth in the long run. Yeah, really good. And a lot of you really linking the idea of dynamic efficiency, innovation, using the latest cutting edge equipment, allowing people, for example, people to log on in the gym and follow their own fitness programs. And notes to myself, welcome to the live stream. If there's more profit, then that can be divided, more dividends for shareholders. Now there's a key stakeholders in the industry. This is really good. So profit has key functions. Freddie talks about investing in new markets such as swimming pools to diversify the portfolio. I think Pure Gym actually was trying to do that with the US model. Typically, they don't think Pure Gym have swimming pools. They're quite expensive to operate, and per square meter, their model is all about packing equipment into a tight space and mopping up the the revenues as well as the sweat from the floor. So I talks about cross-subsidization for loss-making branches. Yes, really good point. There could be some pure gyms that make a loss. The profits and cities, for example, might help fund growth in the areas, in the rural areas. Wow, amazing. So I've said that profit is a signal for efficiency and competitiveness. Essentially, Pure Gym is now operating at scale. That's keeping the unit cost low. Very, very important in a price-sensitive market. So profit, in a sense, ex post, after the event, is actually a reflection of their efficiency and competitiveness. So that is a kind of ex post. A successful business becomes more profitable. A lot of you talking about reinvesting. So profit is crucial for reinvestment in equipment and technology. In an exam, everybody, make it industry specific. So apps, booking systems, quality of equipment, whatever it is. All very, very important. And linking it to brand loyalty. And then crucially, profitability assures investors of the company's ability to service debt and provide dividends. And profits can also be used for training, financial incentives. So you could give your employees stock ownership schemes, profit share schemes, which in turn improves productivity and reduces staff turnover. Okay, thanks to Aki here for a lovely point. Profit allows for stable cash flow, which can incentivize the bank to lend more money to these businesses as they could become less risky to invest in. That is an answer, Aki, that makes my heart sing. Okay, last question for tonight. Last question. Again, we're just using Pure Gym as our little case study. Now, if you haven't done this yet, don't worry, but those of you who have, can you give me 3 examples, please, of economies of scale that Pure Gym might benefit from? Have a go. So have you covered economies of scale? These are all to do with long-run efficiency, long-run cost as a business scales up production. Can you be as specific as possible, please? Thank you. So our little case study tonight, I think is a really good example. I hope you like the example we've chosen, Pure Gym. I'm not a member. I'm thinking about it. It's one of Britain's big success stories, actually. They seem to be all over the place. So Robert Peel talks about managerial economies. So you need to manage those 400 plus gyms. You need to have a really good management system. Really good example there from Vladimir, bulk purchasing. Bianca comes in with a fantastic point about treadmills. You buy in bulk, the average and the marginal cost come down because you've got the credit card, you've got the buying power. Really good example. Thank you for that. Don't forget, this is a service business, so it's less to do with dividing the production process into separate tasks. It's more to do with buying the resources that will scale the business to the new level to bring down the cost per member or the cost per user. So Costas makes a really good point here. National advertising campaigns. See, you might spend £1 million advertising, let's say, per year. If you have 1 member, that's £1 million per member. If you have 1 million members, it's £1 per member. So the cost per member of advertising comes down. If you're looking in the chat window here, everybody, some great answers coming through, so thank you for those. Here are my suggestions. Oh, that's ready. Yeah, financial economies of scale. Can take out large loans at low interest rates. Yeah, as they're a less risky investment. Freddie and Jonathan, all these guys this week, absolutely fantastic, as always, in our sessions. So I've gone for 3, and notice how I'm using very specific language. So Pure Gym can use their monopsony power, their buying power, when they're buying food or cleaning supplies or the gym equipment, when they're renegotiating contracts with Techno Gym or Life Fitness, when they're kitting out their new gyms. In theory, they have the buying power, the bargaining power to bring those prices down. That's a scale economy. Marketing economies of scale. Yeah, so you develop an app, a digital platform across the nation, customer engagement. The fixed costs of setting up the app and the booking systems are high, but the marginal cost is low for these businesses. If you think about Paddle, for example, the Playtonic app is used by 95% of all Paddle players. They just book courts, they book slots, and it works very seamlessly. And then financial e-commerce. So Pure Gym can negotiate lower interest rates with landlords, lower rents with landlords, lower interest rates with banks, for example, because they're seen as lower risk. Okay, all good stuff. Fantastic. A lot of people saying that I was highlighting Freddie's answers there, but somebody else has got in a bit before. My apologies. I'm trying to keep abreast of all the great answers coming through. Not always easy. Thanks for joining, everybody. Before we finish, quick reminder, if you go to the next slide, Jim, I think there was one more slide in our production office there. Was there one more slide? Yeah, just a good example for application. This is early in the school year, but I think it's really important, first of all, just to choose one or two industries or markets that you're interested in and follow them. From pharmaceuticals to gyms to fast fashion to craft beer making, doesn't matter, to car making. Then do a little bit of independent reading, research, and note-taking on some of the leading businesses. Get a feel for who's growing and who's competing. And then ideally use that knowledge. You might have an opportunity to use that as application in your longer style essay questions. Remember what we said in session 1? Actually, I gave a talk in a school in the North East last week, and they said, what's the difference between an A and A star? Very easy, very easy. Exam technique and application. The students who have the application always do better because they don't necessarily have to write in purely theoretical terms. And hopefully these sessions are useful in building up your application skills. We avoided, thank you for that slide, Jim. We avoided any use of diagrams today, which I thought was quite impressive. So thank you to everybody for joining in. As always, Monday night at 6 o'clock on the dial. Spread the word. Let's build our community as we head through this busy autumn term. I hope you're feeling well and enjoying your economics at the moment. If you enjoyed the session, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay curious, and we hope to see you sometime soon.